Hello, everyone. It's Matt from Soundrolling.com, and I'm here with John Simpson in Australia. Hey, John, how's it going? Sorry.
Good, mate. How you going?
I'm good. I'm good. So, for those that don't know, because of the magical world of Foley, you have done. I'll put a link in the description below to your IMDb, but. I mean, most recent films are things like Mad Max, the Lego Movie. You're kind of known for doing King Kong, The Truman Show, The Hobbit. I mean, it's a fantastic portfolio. But
Yeah.
I'm sure you get that all the time as well. Yeah, I just kind of want to kind of get straight into doing Foley, being a Foley artist. When do you get involved in the production, and how do those kind of first initial talks go down?
I guess it's the same all around the world, but I know in Australia there's not a huge amount of competition for Foley. There's only maybe 2 or 3 other guys that sort of do sort of feature type work in Australia. But the sound community in Australia is quite loyal. So once you start working with one sort of sound supervisor, and that too would make contact with me, very rarely does it go through producers or directors, because the sound supervisor says, right, this is the crew we want, and and whoever it is gives me a call or sends me an email these days, mostly to say, are you available from this point there? And quite often it can be months and months and months in advance for a booking these days. Just because, for myself, I'm booked out quite a long way in advance. So people are starting to learn that now, and kind of slot in a spot. I mean, things always move, as they do when things get recut or moved back or something, doesn't happen. But yeah, so that's where it all starts. I have a chat with the sound supervisor. If there's a script around, they'll send us a script, so I can have a bit of a read through, kind of work out. The things that I really like to know about is how many main characters there are in the show, what those locations are, and if there's a lot of locations, because if there's a lot of locations, there's a lot of changes to the sounds I have to make, and there's a lot of characters, especially if they're all, if there were 3 or 4 ladies in it and a couple of blokes, and some blokes have got big boots on because they're, construction workers, and there's other business ones, and it's just lots of different sound changes to make, and whether that's in the clothes that they wear or the shoes that they wear, that all adds to the time to do it. And then, of course, you look at the budget and you work out, well, what's the overall budget of the film? Is it a little baby sort of $2 or $3 million one, or is it a $20 million one? And then you'll know, okay, well, they're going to spend a lot on things, so they'll have more money for sound, hopefully. Although most of the time these days it all gets spent in production, and then it starts to get siphoned out of the post-production, and we end up as the bottom feeders, as we call ourselves, and we go from there. But yeah, that's pretty much where I started. And then really you just wait until the film turns up, and then it's not until you actually start that you think, okay, this job's actually happening, and then you get stuck into it.
Nice. I mean, it's interesting to hear that you get kind of involved so early on. I guess the kind of cliche is to just be handed something kind of last minute and just go, yeah, can you just kind of let's try and figure this out. TV, yeah, I bet. Yeah,
that always happens, because they turn around so fast, and quite often I'll just get an email and say. And a lot of it comes from the UK, in fact. They'll go, we've just got this series in, we have to have it out by this. Can you fit it in? And I'll look at it and go, because most of the time a TV show only takes a day, or if it's, maybe 2 days at the most, sort of thing. So you can normally slot those in just to help people out. And because, the features, you've normally got an end mix date, and you go, okay, as long as it's delivered by there, it's there. So I might take a day off of that to help these other people out to, do the little tiny jobs, because that's, for me, the TV is the bread and butter, because there's always something going on in TV land. And The features are the cream on the cake, pretty much, because they bring in larger amounts of money, but they're not as plentiful as the television work.
Yeah, but I guess because the features take a lot longer as well in terms of just the amount of content that you have to do in terms of details.
That's right, and it's good. I like switching between it, because if you're on a film, say, for instance, Hobbit or the Tintin film, the detail in that was just unreal, but there wasn't a budget, so to speak. We just did it until everybody was happy. But that can be really wearing after a while, just looking at it. A scene, we might work on one reel and it might take a whole week to do it.
Right.
And in an Aussie film, like an Aussie budget, you'd almost do half the whole film in a week or more of it. And we're working on a 20-minute reel for something like Tintin or Kong or something like that. And it does become really tiring, but then you watch it and it's all fantastic. But then you get a break because you go into TV and I don't have to worry about half of that stuff. You just whiz your way through it, and as long as there's a sound for something there where there's a hole, you're right. And as long as it covers the M&E requirements, that's the main thing. So yeah, we like a bit of a break every now and then, but then when you do too much TV, you say, oh, I really want to get into a feature and get some detail going, because you do get a bit sick and tired going, oh, I'd like to spend more time on that, but there's no point because I've only got a day to do it. So
fair enough. And so in terms of your work for TV, in terms of Foley, I mean, is it still kind of just doing, is it like rough? I mean, it's footsteps potentially, and then is it just rough cloth track and just interaction with the
TV? It still is every single thing that you do, like right down to hands on the door handle of someone opening the door and things like that. Pretty much anything I don't do is things like light switches or stuff which effects guys have got libraries full of.
Right. Okay.
Just electronic things, but every film now, you've either got someone with a handbag on and that's always rattling away, or they're picking up their mobile phone and tapping that. Well, there's lots of keyboard type of stuff. So it's almost, the TV, I must say, especially the UK TV, a lot more detail goes into their tracks than what currently is here at the moment. It's starting to change because we've got a lot more sort of channels which are just sort of telemovie type channels, or there's, right. You have to, they're not free to wear, they're pay TV type stuff. So they've got a little bit better budget and we put more detail in it. But yeah, still have to cover every single footstep, and I do a cloth track all the way through it. And it's probably equal to a very low budget feature film sort of quality that we put through. And it's all cut. It all has to be cut before we send it off, and you line it up to the other noises on the guide track so they can play together. And right. It's still as I say, an hour TV show takes us 2 days pretty much. So
nice, and it's really interesting. Oh, sorry, and
it's still very fast.
Oh, definitely. No, it seems fast in location and all the way through. It's amazing, especially when it comes to like scale of, I guess, stuff like Game of Thrones, where they're still trying to do the feature film in a day kind of thing, yeah, with all their units and stuff. It's really interesting as well, just in terms of how you because you did like the Lego movie, for instance. So at what point are you kind of, do you wait for like a fully locked picture, or are they locking down scenes, or when are you getting involved in a process for
I'm just trying to think animated what we did with Lego. I'm pretty sure Lego was done in chunks. So yeah, as soon as there was like a scene done, we'd do that and send it off. And I'd always try to wait until it was the best rendered version we could get, so you've got all the detail.
Right.
And quite often you do one, and then 2 days later you get another version, and they've put 50 more characters in it doing something else. So you got to go back and add, and that happens to every film that's got a reasonable budget. That is all done in the computer. It's so easy for the director to say, let's put 20 more things over there. And that just happens. And then, you know, the sound department says, oh, hang on, where these guys come from?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Lego was done like that. Like all the Happy Feet shows I did, they're all in scenes. And most of the time I remember them by certain things. Like, for instance, the first Happy Feet, for some reason, I remember that scene 46 for me was a big ice blizzard and all these guys going off across the ice thing, only because that took me a while to do, because I was doing all the ice hitting the penguins and,
wow,
and gliding backwards through the slippery ice and, you know, all that sort of stuff. And it was great fun to do. And the funny thing about that is that when we were doing it, it was about 42 degrees here outside the studio, and we're doing all this ice type of movie stuff. It was hilarious.
That's amazing. And with the yeah, because with the I lost my trail of thought now. But just in regards to I guess covering, because there's always this thing about the difference between Foley and effects. So could you just give me kind of an explanation about kind of the key camps, basically?
Yes. Look, it does depend on the sound supervisor you're working with. Like shows, for instance, like Lego, we sit down at the beginning of each scene and we do a run through. And everyone else over there is in Sydney, and I'm up here in the middle of nowhere. But we have a big Skype type session, and we play through backwards and forwards. And I'm watching the picture of it on, linked up to my machine, and we have a big discussion of who does what, pretty much. Shows like Lego, it's really everyone has to go at everything, because it's animation. Everything has to start from scratch. And apart from things like explosions and atmospheres, which, I just don't touch, every other move or mechanical move, I'll do a version of, and the effects will do a version of.
Right.
And they'll just, it'll come down to the pre-dubs when they're doing that, and they'll go, that works, that works, or director will say, I'd like to hear a few more squeaky bits, and then Foley's done that, so let's just add a bit of that in. So yeah, it's pretty much everyone has a crack at it for animation type things. When you go back into things like Hobbit, the line's a little bit more clear cut, because there's departments, like someone over there will be doing the animal feet, and they'll have a heap of library feet, but they'll say, can you just do these close-up ones for me, so we've got a bit of extra detail on the dirt surface where there might be stones flicking over and dirt flicking up from stuff. So we'll cover those sort of things. Yeah, it's good when you've got a defined area, because you know exactly what you have to cover. But there's also things, like in Lego, where you just think it'd be fun to attempt it to see what you can do. And so when you've got, open slather, you just go, yes, let's have a go at this. And let's beat those effects guys. That's what we're after. We want to take them out.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was kind of a bit of crossover just naturally. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there has to be, because you've got to have a few different things, and no one really knows what it's. I mean, the music generally is the last thing to turn up in the mix.
Yeah.
And no one. I mean, we get a temp guide, so you know where music will be playing, but it's not the track. It's a rough idea of what sort of music's going to be there, but it's all just stolen from other big movies at the time of this is what we want it to be like.
Right.
And the trouble comes is when the music eventually turns up and they play it, and there's the frequencies of the music aren't working with the effects, what the effects done. So hopefully the Foley, which we might work at a different set of frequencies for what we've put in our track, might punch through, or a combination might punch through. So that's why it's handy to have all these different options, especially in these larger shows. I mean, it might seem like a nightmare at the time, but you get a lot of musicians which also, like the not so good ones, I call it, and I'm probably going to get hammered here, but there'll be a big fight scene or something, and they'll decide to put a great big cymbal crash on a big sword hitting a rock or something, and you'll go, well, what hope have we got of getting through that? You know, they're trying to put a sound effect with a musical instrument for something hitting something. Well, that's our job. We'll put the big sound effect there, and then most of the time that'll get dropped out. But it's harder with the music because you either got to go back and edit it and move it around or whatever. But you know, it's on the really, really big shows, and I've only done a few where they've done that. The sound supervisor, oh, pardon me, I've just got to get rid of this, downloading some stuff. Sound supervisor will be involved with the music score at the same time, and he'll know the brief from the director, and he'll sit back and go, okay, we don't want any big stuff here. You know, just kind of keep that because the effects is going to be here. This is what the director wants, and everyone will talk to each other, and you get an awesome track like that. And you know, and those notes, a lot of them are videoed or whatever, and we get a copy of it, so you know exactly what you've got to put in to that thing. So it's really handy. Things like Spielberg does that. When we did Tintin, you get a video note from him saying, wow, this is the sort of, you know, there'll be a temp thing done. He'll get the music played to him, the visual effects played, Foley and everything gets played to him, and because when we did it, he wasn't actually in the building. He was on a boat, and he gets that played and he reviews it, and then we get a quick time of his notes, and it's fantastic because he goes right to it. You just know what he wants.
The place in the film, yeah. It's like it's literally having a director's commentary before you've finished the film.
That's right. You know what to change and what needs to be different, and then you go, okay, that's right, and then you just move on to the next bit. So yeah, stuff like that's fantastic.
And so when you're approaching kind of any film, do you have a process of kind of, I'm going to start with feet first, or I'm going to do this scene first, or I'm going to start at the beginning, or I'm just going to start with wherever they give me? What's your kind of process?
Feet I always do first, and then followed by, I generally, if I can do feet for the whole film, I'll do it, because I'll set up all my surfaces for all the feet, and then all I've got all over the floor is just shoes.
Right.
Once I've done with that, I can clean all those away, put it out, and then I've just got props to do. Because the props just make an absolute mess, because I'm generally always in a hurry. And you just, where you've done that noise, you leave it on that spot and you move to the next thing, because more than likely you have to go back to that same thing to redo that same noise. And then at the end of that, then you can clean that up and ready for the next show. And then at the end of that, I'll do a cloth pass. And the cloth pass is where because you're looking at everything at such detail when you're doing your cloth pass, you'll see things that you've missed. And so as you're going through, I'll make a mental note of the time code and go, okay, well, I've missed a hand clap there, or I've missed that teacup down because I was too busy doing something else and you've just skipped over it. And that's kind of like my final check for the recording process. And of course, I like to cut all my own Foley as well. So then you'll notice if there's anything else missing, and if there is, you just jump back in and quickly fix it up. So yeah, that's pretty much my process. And you know, sometimes you get the films which want things delivered quicker because they want to premix as they go. So then you do have to do the feet, just do one reel at a time.
Right.
But if I can, I'll try and do the whole film, and that way you get to you get used to the whole film, because you've already had one whole pass at it. You know exactly what you're going to need for your props, and if there's anything you need to go out and buy, and then go back and do the last bit. So yeah, that's the way I like to work anyway.
No, it's good. I mean, there's so many things you could do. You could start off with anything, couldn't you? And
the only thing that sometimes changes is it obviously depends if the reel's locked or not. Sometimes we just get, you know, reels 3 and 4 might be the only ones locked, so you have to start on those. You're forced just to do that reel if the other ones aren't there. And quite often with TV stuff, and thing is, we won't start with reel 1. We'll start with reel 2, so you can kind of get into it, and then you're used to everybody's movement and what's going on. Then you go back and do the super job on reel 1, if you know what I mean. And it's the same with TV. They like to get you to do episode 2 first sometimes, and then we'll go back and do reel 1. You've got used to all the characters, you know what the story sort of is, and it doesn't sound like you've just started it, you know, until you get to episode 2. But yeah, that's the way it is.
And what's your setup? Do you like you have a studio at home, or do you like have because you're in the middle of
Well,
nowhere?
the studio's
Is it like
on my property. So we're on a property. It's 150 acres. So my studio is about 900 meters down the road. It's
amazing?
just a little track I go down, and it's a huge big shed. And inside that shed is another building. Inside that,
Right.
and around the outside of that inside building is where I store my props and the little kitchen and the toilet and all that sort of stuff, and the machine room and another cutting room I've got in there. And then you go inside again, and that's where the actual recording and studio area is in there. So, keep all the noises out. And for me, it doesn't have to be 100% soundproof because we're not near any main roads or, there's no big airplanes flying over the top or anything like that. And the advantage of where it is we can do a lot of outside recording as well. So if I need to do a heap of stuff in a car, for instance, like if there's a big car movie, I'll set up all the screens in the car and just Foley in the car. Like all the Mad Max stuff, all the interior truck.
Yeah.
Because we're on a bit of a farm, I've got my own truck. So I just park that down the thing and put a telly in there, microphone, and I did all the interior movements inside a truck. So you get that sort of interior sound, it just makes it more real. So things like that are great to do.
Yeah, it's really interesting as well in terms of because you're mixing your own Foley as well. In terms of, I guess, how I'm just trying to think how it works with the difference between Foley mixing and then kind of final mixing, like what the different tweaks would be. Is it then you're ideally just getting it to a point where then the re-recording mixer is just doing levels and not really having to touch it?
I don't generally pre-mix the Foley. All I do during the editing process is get a balance so it plays against the guide track. So it'll just sit there, and then when it goes, because I don't know half the time what the other guys have done, and as I said, you don't know what the music's done. So they might have to EQ things too, so they poke through the mix. And so I generally leave everything as flat as I can, and let the guys know in the room, which is designed for mixing, to do all that sort of stuff. So if you do too much and you start to pan and do all the tricky bits, it locks them in too much of what they can do. And I personally don't think mixing in little tiny rooms just works unless it's a TV show. You need to be in the big space to get it happening properly and get the pans happening properly and things like that. So yeah, I just record it and let the mixers do their bit. That's what they're paid for.
Yeah. No, it's just interesting because how it worked with then the car, because that inherently comes with, since it's a real space, it comes with all its own reverb and stuff, and just how that would kind of match up with
it's good because the environment's there, and they kind of like it if it's in a real environment, because it's like they're just processing the on-location stuff. So, if you're recording yourself and you've got your mic hanging from a sun visor from a bug mic or something to record dialogue, or whether you're hidden under a seat, you're going to get that environment. And then if my Foley can sit in there with the dialogue to enhance it, then that works superbly. I mean, most interior car truck things all sound very similar. You've just got that short kind of reverby. It's almost hard to call it reverb. It's just an ambience, I guess, of a truck. And then when they have to do the M&E and they take it out, that part's already there. It would be harder for them to match the dialogue in there, but I guess, there's all sorts of reverbs around now that can just sort of do a sample inside a truck and just play it in, like Altiverb or any of those IR type reverbs.
Yeah. Do you do any impulse response stuff or anything?
Yeah, I've done a few. We did a TV series where I was doing all the ADR on it as well. I don't do much ADR anymore, but I used to a lot when I was living down south. Nice. And all the rooms in the house, I went and we did impulse reverbs on every single room there was. So when I did the ADR and recorded the ADR, I just did a separate track and sent that off with the actual impulses. So if they wanted to use it, they could, because it was in the real room. and it works superbly when you play it in. It's very hard to pick, what's there. And I mean, the room I was recording in was actually one of the rooms in the house. It was just upstairs in this big old house that I'd turned into an ADR studio, and it was never shot in. But that was reasonably reverberant as it was, and if it was inside the house, I could just pull the baffles out and record it as live as I want, and that would go in, and then just close in if there's a bit of exterior stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how did you get started into ADR and then Foley and just sound in general? How did your career kind of kick off?
I just started with everybody else. You start at the bottom. I worked at the Film Corporation, came in as a projectionist, and loading all the dubbers and things like that, which is probably might be before your time, but when we had all the mag tape, 35mm and 16mm mag rolls, and that had all the audio on it, and that's what we used to load for the mixers to mix. And so I started in there, and then I was recording, voiceovers and stuff for the local commercials and things, and you slowly worked your way into different departments, and I ended up recording Foley and ADR. And then one day a guy that was doing some of the Foley just couldn't do it, and I said, well, I've recorded enough if I know what to do. We got another recordist in, and I went in there and basically stayed there. And I never came out. I was just doing it, still doing it, and that's 37 years ago. So
amazing.
Yeah.
What kind of it's just always interesting because for me being on location, it's just really exciting, kind of having the same tools but kind of like a different level of the game each time, in terms of like there's different situations, and that kind of, it's all about kind of, you've got to capture it, you've got to be there, so what's the kind of, what's, I guess, the exciting bit, or the bit you love about Foley?
I guess it depends on what you're doing. The exciting bit for me is when I'm cutting it. So you've made all the noises and you think they're going to work because it might be several layers or something, and something reasonably new that you haven't done before, some sort of new crazy effect that you're trying to do. And when you cut it and play it back, and you just go, yeah, man, that's fantastic. I want to do more of that sort of stuff, and location as well. Like Mad Max, we did a lot of the opening of it is all through those big tunnels. When he's in there being chased by guys. And we actually went to a local tourist mine. I hired the mine for half a day.
Wow.
And we set up a 5-channel mic in there. So it was a holophone, a 6-channel, 5.1. And I had radio mic on myself, plus we had another shotgun mic, so I could get followed, and I just had a screen, and we would play the image, record that on a multi-track recorder, and I'd just be running up and down all the tunnels in different things, so you'd get good space. So we had the 6-channel recorder, just getting the actual space of the mine, and then I just had a microphone. I was actually just holding a little bug mic down near my feet so you could get some nice close feet. And then, there's just a shotty just following me through. So they had all these options to move people around. And it worked really well. And it's bloody good fun doing little location things like that. And we don't do it in sync. But what I do is I'll download all the clips onto an iPad. I leave time code on one of the channels. I've got a little transmitter which trans like an audio transmitter I just plug in. That spits out the time code to the little recorder that just locks up to it. So every time I just play that clip, the time code just follows on there, because I just got a Fostex 6-track recorder, and that just follows it along. And each time you go back, it just puts that same code in each time, and then I just take those files out, and in the Fairlight, which is what I record to, everything just goes exactly to the right timeline, like the right time code point.
Amazing.
And then it's just a matter of tweaking it so it all goes in. I mean, it is a bit hard running around with an iPad, watching someone without tripping ass up down the thing.
Yeah.
But you get some great results doing that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And so with your and so when you're passing stuff back? Are you talking directly with the supervising sound editor in terms of a bit? Is it usually like a bit more of this, a bit less of this, or is it? How does the kind of conversation go in terms of just
most of the
developing
guys
the
working
Foley?
out just say, just do what you do,
All
pretty
right.
much. They say, you know what to do. We go, rightio, so, and off we go. And I mean, there might be a few hints on how they want a certain character to be. If he's got a bit of a signature type sound, if they want him big and bad and creaky, then you enhance those things. But most of the time you can look at it and you can read the movie, read the script, you get an idea of what the director's trying to portray, and run with that.
Because it's interesting just picking up on the kind of just, I guess, the characteristics of the character, and in terms of, I guess, for some people Foley just seems like a very kind of generic thing. It doesn't. It seems like okay, footsteps. I kind of understand it. Is there how much thought in terms of kind of background? Is it more? I guess I'm trying to draw the line between he's wearing boots, and so it's going to sound like boots, and it's going to be these type of boots because this infers X, Y, and Z.
Yep. Oh yeah, there's all sorts of things. Like there's a character. I'm trying to think. I can't think of the movie. The last Narnia one, Voyage at the Dawn Treader. I did, and there's a character in there, and they wanted him to have one funny sounding shoe. So it was just his signature. Like he'd walk, and there's one foot would be normal, the other one would have a little click with it. So I'd tape a couple of coins to the bottom of my feet, so I had a little metal every time he went along. And then you might have a different thing, might have a little metal shaker or something, just so every time you hear that guy coming, even before you saw him, everyone knows that dude's coming down the corridor, and you got to look out pretty much. So that goes with all the sort of signature sounds, so they can follow it along. And they're good fun too, if you've got a character like that. But obviously a lot more time consuming because that one guy suddenly, instead of having just 1 or 2 tracks, might have 3 or 4 tracks. So that takes a bit longer to do.
It just doubles your time, yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you're recording kind of footsteps, you've just got a big square slab of various stuff that you can just change out in terms of surfaces, and you're just kind of
I've got a room full of surfaces and nothing gets moved. They're just permanently there.
Right.
And I try to make it a reasonably sized spot so you can walk around and get a different sound with each footstep rather than same crunch on the right foot every single time. You've got to vary it a lot.
Yeah.
And I might even change the way I walk. At time you might, just start walking on the side of my shoe or something if there's a slight change in the surface that they're on, just to give a different tone so it doesn't sound like you're walking on 1 square meter of dirt in the studio sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing, miking is probably the most critical thing to make it sound right. You don't want to mic anything too close because it just sounds false. Right. And I always put myself in the point where if I'm on set and where's the boomy got his microphone pointed, and if it's a film where they want it as natural sounding Foley as they can, not big Hollywood blockbuster, they just want it there as a detail to add up, then I'll mic pretty much where that boom mic would have been, except I'm not aiming at the lips, I'm aiming down at my feet. So I'll just pick those up at the same distance. I mean, it won't be above me. It'll just be out in front, but about the same distance. So it might be 6 to 8 feet away from my feet, because that's where you would naturally be picking it up above a 6-foot man. You might be a foot just out on camera edge. And, that's the way it sounds. But you've got to have a room that can take that. Otherwise, if you've got a really live room, it won't work, of course.
Yeah.
It'll sound like you're indoors all the time. And my room is split up into different. I've got a more live area and a more dead area. So all my interior surfaces are in a liver section. That's a lot less deadening. And where I've got my exterior surfaces, it is more dead. But you just still need the space, otherwise it sounds wrong. If
Right.
I've seen shots where you've got guys miking 1 foot away from the foots, and you go, you'd never ever hear them that close, unless it's a Mad Max thing where there's this massive big close-up of big leather boots, and sure, then I might mic it 6 inches from it just to really go over the top.
Yeah.
Get that crunch and weight into it. So yeah, the miking part's good fun, and we use a range of shotguns, and sometimes I'll use just an omnidirectional microphone in the room for interior stuff, just to get space around the room, things like that. So we swap between mics and just dynamics, and sometimes you put bug mics on and things like that.
And
just
so
different changes.
And with you never need to. So, for instance, like when you're trying to get the similar boom position, are you using the same mic as they did on set? Does that have any effect on it?
It'll be close. I mean, everyone's got different flavors of mics nowadays.
Yeah.
I've got 3 that I swap between. There's a Neumann KMR 81.
Okay.
There's the old favorite, the Sennheiser 416, although I don't use that as much. If I'm doing stuff outside, I'll probably pull that out the box, because it's really good on picking up detail outside. Whereas the Neumann's has a little bit less top end response outside, I find. And my new favourite is the DPA037B. I love that mic. That's my most favourite one for Foley at the moment. It's just so warm, and it's got really easy filters to muck around with on it. You don't have a little pencil or pin to flip things about,
Yeah.
They're my favourites. And a Neumann U89 I use as well inside, because it's got switchable patterns. So yeah, that's what I sort of move around with. And speaking of in the boomy parts on bigger shows like Tintin and Hobbit, my assistant actually, we will boom. So he'll have me on a pole, and because you haven't got the area, I can stay in my spot and he can just move away. And I'll stand still rather than he move away, sort of thing. Or just turn it off of axis, just so you're not getting too far away, but you're just losing the detail. So you sounds like you're walking away. So there's a few old tricks.
Nice.
Now I've told you that, you're all going to have to, you can't. Hit you with that zappy thing in a minute. The mind wiper.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that's amazing. And so what are you working on at the minute?
Right. I'm just about to start an it's an American film, and I can't remember the name of it. It's a Gemma. It's something to do with Gemma. Okay. Gods of Egypt was the biggest one I've just finished a few months ago.
Oh wow, that does sound epic.
Yeah, that's a massive thing. That'll be good. Lots of TV for the UK at the moment. There's about 3 TV shows I'm working on, and 2 Aussie TV shows all at the same time.
Wow.
So it's all a bit crazy at the moment. So yeah, there was 5 television shows and a feature. Yes,
all by next week, is it?
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy, but you jump from one to the other, and it makes life interesting because you're not stuck in the same thing every single day. One day you got a murder mystery, another day you've got some 60s pop culture type film, and another one is something different. It's good fun.
And with the amount of work you've done, you must end up watching some of your TV shows. Like, if you do a TV show, do you ever just get into watching the rest of it? Or I suppose you're doing the Foley for all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's good, I'll watch it, but I won't watch it when it comes to telly because I would have seen it enough.
A million times.
Something else.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah, sometimes if I'll start to, generally I don't preview a TV show. There's just not the time. So I'm watching it as I'm going along, or I might watch, the first 10 minutes and go, okay, this is what we're doing, and then get into it. And then, but when we're doing a cloth pass, because that's generally just one whole run of 30 minutes without stopping, then that's when you get to listen to all the words, and it all starts to make sense. You go, oh, okay, that's what that's about. Sort of thing. So that's good.
And so so you must have a team for some of these, especially for some of the bigger feature stuff, or even the TV stuff, just to get it out quicker.
TV is just myself and my wife. She records.
All right.
But when we're on the bigger shows, I'll bring an editor in if we need to deliver it quicker.
Right.
So I'll record, and as we're going, it can just spits across the other room and have someone cutting. The ones I do in New Zealand, yeah, they've got two. Or there's one Foley editor all the time, same sort of thing. Hobbit, you'll do a scene that's chockers, and then send it up to the Foley editor, and he'll cut it, and that's good. It's a bit weird for me because I like to know that stuff's worked.
Yeah.
So I often go up and play it back, and then go, "Oh no, I just want to add this." But you know, when you get to know the editor, and the editor on the Hobbit was fantastic, and so you get to trust what he's going to do with all your stuff, and that's really important because I hate sending it away, thinking they're not going to do what I want with it, and it'll get played wrong, and everyone will go, "Man, that's crap."
Yeah.
No, you just haven't put it together right. You know, it's just the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm a bit getting more like that as well in terms of just trying to do, because I do so much location stuff, and you see, and again that thing of like they're putting all the budget into the production, and then later on things are they're just hiring people just based purely off budget, and so it's more easy for me, I think, especially being there, just to know what I'm dealing with already, know the director already, know the story already, and can just kind of get on with it and just make it sound how I want, which is nice.
Yeah, that's right.
Obviously,
I do. I like the location stuff, and being up here, occasionally we get crews up, and I end up doing second unit or something like that, you know, location recording, which is good fun because they're normally doing cars and really cool things.
Nice.
You know, they're all the big slides and the crashes and stuff like that you get to have fun with. So yeah, I enjoy that, and normally I'm doing Foley for that movie anyway. So if I'm recording stuff, I'll get as much stuff as I can.
Yeah.
That I know I can steal and put in. If it's out there, if something's making a cool noise, I'll go, well, I'm going to record that, because then I'll just put it in as a Foley thing. So that's good fun.
And I know that lots of people are just going to be watching this who are obviously kind of like up and coming kind of Foley artists, or they kind of want to get into it, or they're kind of starting. So I don't know if you have any kind of I guess tips in mind in terms of just getting started and just getting going.
Getting started. Look, it is a difficult industry to get into, and it really comes down to proving yourself. So the guys that I've brought in that have helped me out, and I've employed them for a period of time, that have then gone on to do their own bits and pieces, generally they've just turned up as work experience and don't go away, and they just keep turning up, and you know, I can't afford to pay them, if you know what I mean. I can't afford to pay anybody if they're not going to work and do the thing.
Yeah.
So, and it goes with because most of the self-employed type of Foley guys are, you know, you're just working with what the minimum budget you can work with. So if you've got someone that's willing to come in and help all the time, then they start to prove themselves, and you give them a little bit more and a little bit more, and it might be months to get them to a point where, okay, I'm just going to step out the door, and you do this little section, and show me what it's like. And if you go, man, that's really cool, then you know, okay, well, this is going to save me time here, because while you're doing that, I can go out and cut stuff. So now it's worth paying you some money, because I'm saving employing an editor, and sort of things like that. So it's, be prepared to work for free for a reasonable amount of time. Turn up when you say you're going to turn up. You know, nobody likes a smart ass either. So if you've done something, you know, I've had a few people have come in and go, oh, I did Foley on this short film, and when we did this, I did it this way. And I'm thinking, no, you don't tell me how to do that sort of thing. You just sit there and bloody learn. And actually, they don't last too long in my book. You just got to come in and learn, this is the way you do it. Or, you know, we had this was years ago, someone saying, well, you play back a bit and they don't understand the process and go, oh, that doesn't sound very good yet, so why haven't you done that? I said, because I'm not up to doing that bit yet. I'm just doing this bit. I just want to make this bit works first, and then we'll do the next bit. So that, you know, You just got to sit down, be quiet, ask sensible questions, and then, you know, ask if you can have a go, you know, and say, yep, I'm happy for people to have a crack at it. Even if it's at the end of the day when you're finished, I'll get somebody in and say, okay, you have a go and I'll record it and see how we go, and just play and you know, get to as many work experience places as you can. Not just Foley. You really need to know the whole process. If you can get out to a location and hang around with guys like you, so you know what they go through on location, go to the sound editor, find a sound editor and hang around with the sound editors, because everybody works together in sound department, so you really need to know the entire process. And you know, apart from the music guys, we don't care about them. That's a bit mean.
No, I'm kind of a similar vein. To be honest, no, it's a different thing, because lots of people think, well, because you do sound, obviously you play like 60 million instruments and things like that.
That's right. I can't play any.
Yeah, I came purely from. It came through film school, actually, mainly because I was like making terrible movies, and then got there and realized that everyone had already learnt everything, it seemed. At least they were pretending to, and so I just found my nice little quiet corner and just stuck with sound. And so
no, it's a good little niche. You got to find your niche and stay with that, pretty much. So that's what we do.
Yeah. And so do you ever, because you're in the middle of nowhere, are you like meeting up with people? Is there like quite an active kind of sound industry in Australia, in terms of like, because are you working with all the same people?
Yeah, they're all the same.
Because it was William Ashley.
Pretty much. Yeah, there's one, I mean, an old friend of mine who I worked with for years, Andrew Plain, who passed away last year. And, you know, I'd get probably, he shared it around a bit, which was good, because it depends on the budgets of films and things. But yeah, we did a lot of work for him, and he was someone early on that got me into doing some of the larger films. And funnily enough, it was the first guy I met in the industry, a fellow by the name of James Curry, who's a sound recordist, and that's who I met one of my first experience on location. And he was also a mixer at the Film Corporation in Adelaide. Right. So when a job came up, and I started to make contact with him, and you know, we're basically in this industry too, you know, so you get in the door and you have a bit of a crack, and I stayed there. So funnily enough, he's up here still recording. I met him in 1980. Wow. And he's up here in location doing the Wolf Creek television series.
Right.
So be prepared for Wolf Creek. There's a 6-part series coming. It'll be over to you guys, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so I've been out to location a couple of times, just chatting with him, and been to the pub a few times and catching up. It's been fantastic. Yeah, it's good.
Nice. No, awesome. Well, I think that's a perfect time to kind of just end this section, end this sound chat for now.
All right, sounds good.
But yeah, but the plan with them is to keep updating it as kind of an archive as well. And thanks to the viewers who will watch this on the replay, and the people that have been watching this as we've been going as well.
I hope I haven't bored you to tears too much, viewers.
No,
it's Sunday night here, and I've got my Sunday night hairdo on pretty much. So because it's been 46 degrees.
Oof.
And we've been it's been hot and sweaty and stinky outside. So I've only been inside for not all the day. It's been doing things outside.
Right.
So I look forward to the week where I'm getting in the studio with the air conditioner on and it's only 24 degrees. It's beautiful.
Nice. Fantastic. Well, I'll sign off for now, and then we can have a chat and properly sign off there. But yeah, so from me, in terms of sound chats in the video, you'll catch me. I think I'm going to try and do another one later today. So so they just spontaneously pop up when and where. But I'll just leave you, John, to say goodbye to the viewers. And that'll be that.
Goodbye all. I hope you enjoyed that bit of information and found something reasonably useful. And if there's any directors out there watching and you want for Foley done,
there we
Thank you very
go.
much. See ya.
Done. I hope I get you some work. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I like working for you guys.
Fantastic. Okay, so we'll end it there, and we'll just have a little chat. So, see you later, people.
No worries.